Good morning, this is Wilhelmina Ford, greeting from Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. I am here to tell the world I am a marketing consultant of the seller who produce gold and diamond. Where? In West Africa. The origin is from Conakry, Guinea, Bamako, Mali, and Sierra Leone, and so forth. Now I know that you as a buyer are struggling to find the supply, is struggling to get the real seller. Why are you struggling for? You already been visiting Wilhelmina's page. I'm just here to answer the questions of this very tricky buyer. Okay. Last night I have a conference, and this morning, today the time is 11:15. Can you see that on the clock? 11:55. Now, the reason why I'm always on live is to explain to you on how you're gonna get this supply called gold and rough diamond for your business. Now, gold is not for C.I.F, really. C.I.F stands for cost, insurance, and freight. Who is going to pay for that? Do you mean to say you're asking us to pay you the gold to bring it to you, and the seller will pay all the taxes and the export documentation, and you're sitting down in your ass in your country? Then when the gold arrive in your country, you are going to scam the seller. It's happened now. There is a gold in Amsterdam right now. There is a seller in Paris right now. There is a seller in Germany right now. There is a seller in Italy right now. They come to Wilhelmina for help. I am not an institution. I am not a charitable. I am here to market the production of my seller. However, Wilhelmina is a very kind and very helpful. We are now on the social media. People can find the supply through social media. YouTube is the way on how to market. Facebook is the marketing site. It's up to you to digest. It's up to you to read a full corporate offer. Now, I'm going to answer one by one the question of this particular buyer yesterday and last night and today. Now, one buyer asking me to find the gold. I said, well, you already found the gold. You met Wilhelmina on live video before you called me. Did you read the procedure? And he said, yes, I did. So what would be the next? And then this particular buyer said, I'm a buyer. I want C.I.F. And I told this buyer, do you understand what is the meaning of C.I.F? Will you explain it to me? This is my question to this joker buyer. And he said, Wilhelmina, I am the buyer. I'm willing to buy whatever you have available and send it to Dubai or in United Kingdom. And I told him to send the gold in United Kingdom, the importation tax is 20%. He was surprised, this joker buyer. And then he was just testing my guts. And then another question, this joker buyer, he said, I have my account in Dubai. I have my own company in Dubai. I want the gold C.I.F. And I told him, good luck. And your terms is not acceptable. And he was laughing to this lady in front of you. And I told him, you are a very clever buyer. You are a launderer. You are going to leverage the gold. You know what he said? He gave me the right answer. He said, yes, Wilhelmina. I am asking C.I.F. I have my own buyer. I will resell the gold to my buyer. Then the buyer pay me. That's the time I'm going to pay your seller. You know what my answer is? You as the buyer, you're bullshit. If I mention the name of this buyer, I'm telling you his name would be popular. And he's gonna be embarrassed. And then I asked him, by the way, you have an accent, right? I said, yes. Where are you coming from? United Kingdom. Originally, where you come from? So, Wilhelmina, I was born in the United Kingdom, but my parents is Pakistani. I thought so. And he asked me as well, Wilhelmina, where are you coming from? That's a very good question. I'm from Australia, but I was born in the Philippines. He was laughing at me. And you know what this joker buyer, he said, you're very smart, Wilhelmina. Your seller is so lucky to have you. And I told this buyer, you're a businessman, you should know that. You're a crook. I insulted him. You know, he was really challenged. And you know what this buyer was saying to me? Wilhelmina, you know what you're talking. And I threw the question to this joker buyer. You're a businessman, you should know that. You become rich to manipulate the poor seller. You get a handsome profit pretending you are a buyer. You are only front act that you are a buyer. I don't know you. Show me your proof of funding that you have $1 million. Because gold is worth $1 million and gold would not fade. And gold is the world asset. He was challenged with me. And he said to me, can you supply me, Wilhelmina, tons of gold? Yeah, we can supply you. Convince Wilhelmina that you have $1 million. Bank statement. And he started to wonder with my ability. And you know what he said to me? Yes, Wilhelmina. I get the gold and resell it to my own customer. And I told him, therefore, you're a broker. You pretend to be a buyer. You're a broker to your own buyer, and then the buyer pay you the base on the world market, and we will give you a really good price, and then you still deceive yourself, and you are planning to deceive us. You will never deceive this woman in front of you. And he said to me, well, Amina, I'm not going to travel. I said, well, don't be in business. You buy gold in Dubai at the refinery, 1.5% discount. You buy. We give you 8% and you get the profit. You resell it first. Yeah? You lay out the capital and resell it and you get the profit. And I told this pretending rich buyer, you're a businessman, you should know that. Buy and sell, get the profit. The seller is the wholesaler. The seller come to Wilhelmina to market. I work for the seller. And you buy gold 1.5% and we give you 8%. You get 6% profit. Yeah. So he was really challenged. And he said, can you bring the gold to Dubai? And I told this buyer, I told you, what part of our conversation you didn't understand? We don't deal C.I.F. This is cash business. Gold is cash. Gold will never fade. Gold is the world asset. You know that. You're a businessman. You should know that. This is what I said to this particular buyer. I'm not going to mention his name because he wouldn't like it if I'll divulge his name. You know, this woman is very straightforward. And then he come back to me. Well, I mean, I love to do business with you. I said, why you love to do business with me? I was challenged with your conversation. Well, show me the proof of fund that you have $1 million if you're a businessman. And then he said to me, you know, I went to Ghana. I buy gold to AA Mineral. And then how much AA Mineral charge you? 2%. Well, I told you so. I've been to Ghana, I told this buyer. Now, another seller asked me, well, Amina, can you help me? I don't know him. He saw my video and he went to my Facebook. And he asked me, well, Amina, do you think that I'm going to give my gold to a buyer C.I.F? I said, no. You are a small miner. Your business, you're running your business week to week. You need cash. You're paying your worker every week. You are paying a petrol. You are paying your overhead. You work under the heat of the sun. You're feeding your community. And then that particular buyer asking you C.I.F. And I told this new seller, don't. There is a seller that already been stranded. He brought his gold in Europe, C.I.F. And the buyer is a joker. Don't. I told this small seller, small local miner. I told him, don't. Let the buyer to be hungry. Don't be excited. And he said to me, Can you help me? I said, no, I cannot help you because I have my own seller. My seller hired me to market. I told this new seller, learn out of my video, learn out of my explanation. So you know what the seller said? Thank you, Wilhelmina, for helping us. Most of the broker joker doesn't help us. They only think about their commission. I said to this new seller that who approached me, I said, don't ever travel to any particular country that you don't know the country. You're a black man, you're gonna be disadvantaged. I told this seller. Okay, so that was my answer. Now, I know you're struggling to find the supply. We have the supply. You don't need to be struggling. Show us that you have a financial capital to pay what you are buying. If you don't have the money, of course you're going to be struggling because you don't have the money. Okay, how are you able to get the supply? Very good question. Did you read the procedure in front of you? Listen to this video. Every video, the full corporate offer is in front of you. You click below, you will see the full corporate offer. You will see the diamond, rough diamond, the manifest, right? You pay attention, then I will believe you're a buyer. I will believe. So there is a saying that supply and demand determine the price. Now, another joker buyer asked me, what is the price, Wilhelmina? And I told him, you go back, you search on the world market price. Then if you're going to see the world market, how much is the world market demand today? Less 8%, use your calculator, you figure out, you come back to Wilhelmina. That's what my saying to this time waster buyer. There another buyer, he's from Paris. He knows me. For 5 years, he said. He's chasing and chasing and chasing. And he is in my WhatsApp. And he said, I am a buyer. Okay. So he added me on WhatsApp. He said that he is a buyer. He's willing to buy gold. He's from Paris, just few hours ago. So I did respond to his WhatsApp. He added me. And I leave a voice on WhatsApp. Hey, Mr. Buyer, thank you for adding me. And you said on your message that you are a buyer. Wilhelmina, just read your message. It is morning here. And it's evening in Paris. Few minutes ago. And he called me back. And he introduced himself. And then I introduced myself that I'm Wilhelmina Ford. You know what he said? I know you. I said, how did it happen? You know me. I've been talking to you 5 years ago. I said, and then? And if you were talking to me 5 years ago, why are you still chasing? And then you come back to me. So I told this buyer from Paris, you know, if you're a real buyer, the real buyer doesn't talk too much. Only bullshit buyer talk too much. So I measure his conversation. Middle of my conversation, he said, he has a buyer. He is next to the buyer. So I told this person, if you're next to the buyer, why in the beginning you said you're a buyer? So to me, you're a liar. And I give him the meaning of the word called scam. And I told him, do you understand what is the meaning of scam? So yeah, I know. There's so many scammer. And I told him, you are one of the scammer. The scammer means lie, deceive, manipulate. You're one of the scammer. And he said, how do you know? My gosh, I can sense our conversation. My gosh, I just come back from my trip. I went to Conakry, Guinea, and I brought the buyer to get the gold in the office of my seller. And the buyer was surprised. The seller owned the building. The seller has a lot of cars in his car park. So he was surprised. And I told this guy, you should not lie yourself. You should be straightforward. You know, Wilhelmina is very, very brutal. And he said to me, I had a buyer from Belgium. Do you think you can bring gold C.I.F? And I told him, you know that you already watched my video. You already read the full corporate offer. Gold is not C.I.F. Gold is cash. Africa is a cash economy. Then at the last of my conversation, he said, his buyer bought gold in Conakry, Guinea, and he purchased gold 1.5% discount. And he bought that in the central bank. I said, good on you. So now I told him, now you start to tell the truth. Yes, I just sold the gold, a buyer from Malaysia in Conakry, Guinea. And the gold was brought to the central bank. And the gold stays on the central bank. And then the central bank brought the gold to the airport with the armor car and hand over to the buyer. And we give the buyer a discount. That buyer that I took in Conakry from Malaysia, he's a winner. He got the gold. He got the good discount. Today, we no longer give a very big discount. You as the buyer, you come, you will get the profit. You travel, you see, inspect, taste the gold, show me the proof of fund, your bank statement, then I will believe that you are going to pay the gold, and I will believe you're a buyer. Now you must remember, Mr. Buyer, do not muck around. Wilhelmina will charge you if you're a real buyer. Why? I will accompany you so that you will not be bullshit, and you will not be frustrated. I do charge my airfare, hotel accommodation, and spending money to be with you. And if you cannot afford my travel cost is peanuts. You are buying $500,000. To me, you are not a buyer. If you are asking me C.I.F, you are not a buyer. You're a scammer. Yes. Do you understand what is the meaning of scammer? Lied, manipulate, and deceive. You are one of the scammer. Yes. Can you see this Last Supper? Can you see the Last Supper? I am a traditional Catholic. Jesus Christ had 12 disciples, right? The scammer is Judas. Judas betrayed his master. Can you see that on my background, Last Supper? Judas sold Jesus Christ of 17 sterling just to lie to the enemy of Jesus Christ. Right? And that enemy doesn't believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. Right. And Thomas is a doubtful. He didn't believe that Jesus Christ was resurrected. And then Peter, he also denied his master during the persecution to save his life. But Jesus Christ was suffering because of you lies. Jesus Christ suffering because of us, because of our sin in this world. You as the buyer, you are also a scammer. You are. Now turn back to this gold. Exactly the same. God the Father showered the world lot of natural resources through the power of God the Father. Do you remember that God created the world? The bird, the sun, and the water, and the human being. When God the Father created the world, He showered all the natural resources in order for us to use it. But most of you guys are abusing the kindness of every seller. Turn back to my parable in business. I love this Last Supper because I can relate it to you guys. In this world, there are two kinds of people. You are a scammer, you're asking for C.I.F. And the seller is working so hard, he's honest, he has the gold, but you are taking advantage. You got my point now here? I am using the parable of business. Whether you are rich or not rich, it's still the same. You have to pay what you are buying. Yes? Here in Australia, everything now is online. You order groceries delivered into your doorstep. You pay before the gold deliver. You pay before the goods delivered to your doorstep. Collies and Wallies, they will ask your Visa card. On the total sale value you order the food, the groceries, then the delivery will deliver the food into our doorstep, fully paid. Going back to gold and diamond, exactly the same. But you are the scammer, Mr. Buyer. You are. And then you're gonna say, oh, the seller is a scammer. Yes, the seller make a revenge on you. Now, let us talk properly. There are so many offer on the ground in Africa, 25, 26, 27. And you are the scammer. You're excited, the scammer buyer, you're excited to grab the 25, 26, 27, 29. That is the gross. That is the gross. The seller didn't tell you that there is a value tax and there is an export tax and there is a cost of assay report. So that particular seller did not tell you that. Did not tell you that there is a hidden cost. So on the 28, 29, you are the 7.5 tax on every bar, 2,800. On 29, I will get the use your calculator because I'm very far with my calculator. 28, 29, you are the 7.5% on tax. You add the insurance. You add the assay cost. In return, it is 36, 37, or 38. Our selling price is tax inclusive. You are not paying taxes. Our selling price less LME 8%. Which one you like? So, am I deceiving you? Or am I telling the truth? You as the buyer, you are a scammer. You're asking C.I.F. You're asking LC. You know what is the letter of, meaning of letter of credit? You are going to go to your bank. You're going to apply for the facility of letter of credit before you're going to get the products. Right? Because you don't have the money. That is why letter of credit. Your bank will ask you a lot of paperwork. Do you have an asset? What collateral you are going? How much is your properties? Before the bank will give you the facilities of letter of credit. And you are buying gold letter of credit. Gold is cash. Gold is money. So why are you going to ask for credit to us? You ask the credit to your bank and your bank will give you the money and put the money into your bank account. You pay the gold to us. You pay the diamond to us, to the seller. Then the seller will pay taxes that he's going to export to you. Does that make sense now? Our selling price is tax inclusive. You come with the invitation, you inspect, you like it, you pay it, bank to bank transfer. Does that make sense now? Now, how are you able to pay? Very simple. After inspection, you make a holding deposit. This is not an upfront. Holding deposit that you are going to proceed on what you inspect the product, like gold or diamond. Now, the diamond and the gold, I will give you the link, the video, and the manifest on the diamond. Pay attention. The full corporate offer is in front of you. You just pay attention, click below, then when you are ready, you come back to Wilhelmina. We will send you the landing visa. You need Wilhelmina to be with you. Remember a few minutes ago I said, you are a real buyer, you are a fluent buyer. You are not a joker buyer. Those people asking for C.I.F, they are joker, they are criminal, they are thieves, they are crooks. If you are a real buyer, you have cash in your bank account, I will believe you are a buyer. I can guarantee you, you will get the supply. 100% guarantee. Why guaranteed? I was already on the ground. I took a buyer from Malaysia, he got the gold, and he's happy. So if you're asking for C.I.F to me, you are a scammer, you're a thief. Did you not remember or recall a few minutes ago I explained about Judas and Jesus Christ? Judas is the scammer. You as one of the scammers as well. So I hope you understand my logic here. I'm using the parable in business. Going back to what the buyer that have the conference with me last night and today. Summarize, Buyer asking for C.I.F. is a scammer. He doesn't have cash. He's going to leverage it. He's a broker to his customer. He pretends to be a buyer, and then the seller are excited to consider. To me, you will not get the gold or diamond, because I told my seller, a buyer asking C.I.F, he has no money. Before I arrived in Conakry, Guinea, my seller already lost gold and money. When the old man was having a meeting with me privately, confidential meeting, my seller said, "Thank you that you come to my country. Thank you, Mrs. Ford. Most of the foreigner are thieves." And I said to the old man, "I am not a thief, I am foreigner, but in this world, Mr. Seller, there are two kinds of people, good and bad. Unfortunate you meet bad people. Unfortunate, gold business is a very tricky business. Unfortunate, those buyer come to your office beforehand is the scammer. He wanted to become instant millionaire. He deceived you." You know what my seller said? "Thank you, Mrs. Ford. I love you, Mrs. Ford, for telling the truth." And I said to the old man, "I love you too." You know what the old man was saying? "Mrs. Ford, you are the mother of gold." And I said to the old man, "Yeah, thank you. You are also the father of gold." Why is the father? He owned the concession. He owned 500 acres of land full of gold and diamond. He is the father of gold. He's a multimillionaire. He owned the building. He has 15 cars. He has 400 workers. He's a multimillionaire. And you guys, you're a scammer, you are crook, you're a thief. Your eyes is bigger than a dollar. So that is the reason why you people are scared with this bloody woman. You people are scared. You're running around and running around and running around and chasing until you come back to Wilhelmina. Just exactly this buyer from Paris. He come to me by introductory on WhatsApp. And then I leave a voice message. And he called me. And he said, "I know you." I said, "How do you know that you know me?" "I've been talking to you 5 years ago." My question is, if you know me, how come you're still chasing? Right. And another guy when I was in Ghana, when I was in the hotel and having a breakfast, I introduced myself. And this guy, he's from United States. He was having a breakfast. I introduced myself. "Hi, good morning. I'm Wilhelmina Ford from Australia." And you know what this gentleman say? "Oh no, I know you." I said, "Where did you know me?" "Don't you know that I was chatting with you on LinkedIn?" I said, "Yeah." "And his name is John." I said, "Oh, John, thank you very much for meeting me here." Yeah, during the time when I was in Ghana, 2014. "Oh, thank you very much that you're meeting me here in Ghana. What do you do? What do you do in Ghana?" He bought the gold. The gold didn't come. He was asking for C.I.F. And I told them, "John, I know already. People asking C.I.F, John, you are going to leverage, isn't it?" And he was just smiling. And he asked my number. So here's my number. You call me when you're ready. And he has so many agents. And he has a white guy, an agent on the ground. And I told him, that guy is just like a gypsy. If I am the buyer and if I am the seller, I wouldn't believe that agent. He's a rugged guy. This is $1,000,000 you're buying. You should wear nice clothes. You should convince this lady in front of you. Show me your face. Come on Skype. Come on WhatsApp. Call me. Or come on Messenger. Open your camera. Introduce yourself. Don't hide your face. A minute you don't open your camera, to me, I wouldn't believe it. If you don't want to open your camera, show me your bank statement. That I will believe that you're a buyer. As simple as that. Show me your passport copy that you're a buyer. And show me your business license that you're a buyer. Yeah. Then we will exchange seller's information. I'm not going to release my seller's information, business license, mining license, SKR. What for? You're not a buyer to me. A real buyer will send a letter of intent to buy on your company letterhead. Exactly the same when you buy property, remember? Wilhelmina was a real estate before. Now I diverted into gold and diamond. You will never get the gold if you ask Wilhelmina C.I.F. Immediately you will be turned down. Immediately, 100%. Because gold is not for credit. Gold is not for leveraging business. Gold is not for laundering business. Gold is not C.I.F. Gold is cash. Gold will never fade. Gold is the world asset you are buying. Does that make sense now? Thank you very much. I hope you understand what I'm saying here. Come and talk to Wilhelmina. Read and listen to this video. Then I will believe you're a buyer. Thank you very much and a pleasant good morning.